Good evening. I would like to call to order the Bedford County School Board regular meeting for tonight, December 8th, 2022. Ms. Johnson, if you would, please call the roll.
Kirby, Mr. Hill,
Here.
Mr. Daniels,
Here.
Mrs. Hairston,
Here.
Mr. Holbrook,
Here.
Dr. Mealy,
Here.
Mr. Nelms.
Here.
You have a quorum.
You'll have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Vice Chairman, I make motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Nelms. All right. All those in favor signify
Aye.
by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Agenda is approved. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to the Code of Virginia 2.2.3711A1 to discuss the assignment, appointment, performance, disciplining, and release of contract for specific school board employees, including the evaluation of the superintendent as provided in his contract of employment.
So we have a motion by Dr. Mealy. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I heard Mr. Holbrook on that one. All right, so we have a motion by Dr. Mealy and a second by Mr. Holbrook. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we are now in closed session.
Chills me to the bone. Oh, but here's the nice light.
Come out of closed session? Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Have a motion by Holbrook. And a second by, was that Dr. Mealy or Georgia? All right, Ms. Hairston. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Ms. Johnson, if you will certify.
Whereas the Bedford County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Bedford County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Apologize, but we will have to skip the staff report and bring it back when we return. We're going to break for dinner, and we'll be back at 7 o'clock.
If you did. That's great.
See?
I don't know, I was gonna say the same thing, I don't see him. I hate that we've been reducing.
I'd like to reconvene our regular scheduled meeting for tonight, December 8th. If you would, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Next will be our recognition of students and staff. Mr. Ryan Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Tonight, we recognize 2 Bedford County student athletes who have recently achieved excellence. The following individuals excelled in the sport of cross country. Mr. Vice Chair, Dr. Bergen, thank you for coming forward. Alex Jordan is this year's Seminole District Champion, and he took it further, becoming the VHSL Class 4 state runner-up. And in addition, now holds the JF Cross Country 5K male school record at 15 minutes and 15 seconds. Cross Country state runner-up JF's Alex Jordan. Zoe Lamanna is this year's Seminole District Girls Champion, and she's the new Region 4D Champion. Also, the VHSL Class 4 Cross Country Individual State Champion. In addition, she also set the JF Cross Country 5K female school record at 17 minutes and 28 seconds. JF's High School State Cross Country Champion, Zoe Lamanna.
Next will be public comment. Public comment portion of tonight's agenda is limited to 40 minutes. Speakers are asked to state their name and voting district. The school board is here to listen to your comments, but will not engage or respond to speakers during this 40-minute period. Please remember that this is a public meeting and that we expect all speakers to refrain from any foul, profane, abusive, or hateful language during their comments or any time while in attendance during this meeting. We also ask that speakers keep their remarks objective and about the school in nature. Please keep all comments limited to matters related to the public schools, and any comments that are harassing or amount to a personal attack against any identifiable individual, whether board member or staff or student, or having the potential to cause unnecessary delay or disruption to this meeting are prohibited. This is a public meeting for public matters. Mr. Edwards will serve as timekeeper for individual speakers with a ringing bell indicating that a person has 30 seconds remaining, and a second bell will ring indicating a person's 4 minutes have expired. Mr. Edwards will also serve as timekeeper for our cumulative 40-minute period. When Mr. Edwards' 4-minute timer bell rings, please discontinue speaking and allow the next person in line to come to the podium. Should you be unable to finish your comments, please send or give them to Ms. Johnson, and she will give them to board members. Please do not adjust the microphone at the podium as it has been positioned for optimum audio quality. First person tonight is Leanne Ellis.
I was told I shouted into the mic last time. I'll try not to do that this time. It's the former theater kid in me, y'all. Good evening. My name is Leanne Ellis. I'm a parent of 2 BCPS students and a resident of District 2. I have 3 issues I'd like to bring to your attention that I hope you'll work to address. First, I would like to ask what's being done to alleviate the stress on teachers due to the lack of sub coverage. I think the board has made positive steps in this direction by hiring full-time subs and paying teachers for their coverage time. But regardless of pay, the strain is really hitting our teachers, particularly on the south side, where there are fewer subs. Losing planning time also hurts our students because without this time, who can construct complex and dynamic new lessons? I would like to suggest 2 possible solutions. Number 1, to offer incentives to the bus drivers for them to sub, and that the board take another look at offering retired teachers a portion of their former salary in exchange for 20 days of subbing or proctoring in the county. On to my second issue. As we iron out the kinks with placing all high schools and middle schools on the same schedule, I ask that we not force students who attend outside programs such as RVGS to take 4 classes back at their home schools. 4th period begins at 11:35, and most of those students won't arrive until at least 11:45, forcing them to lose class or lunchtime. I ask that you make that 4th class optional, allowing those students to use their 4th period for lunch and study hall in the library if they have enough credits to spare that time. I've saved the biggest issue for last, and that's this building that we're standing in now. Thank you for adding a drain to stop it from flooding every time it rains. But please know that that's a bare minimum of what needs to be done. Fixing a flooding building is just something you're supposed to do, and yet it took decades. This building hasn't seen a renovation other than the addition of air conditioning in 2001, which took up 2 of the dressing rooms. It has this room and the band room for instruction, 2 spaces for 3 programs. Possibly a 4th, oh, I lost my place, y'all. Possibly a 4th if the requested dance class is added. And every time this space is used for a meeting such as this one, it displaces classes. Our other 2 county schools have a designated classroom where the performing arts classes can rehearse. But here, our teachers have to hope that the library will be available. When the new gym was built, there was supposed to be a band room attached, but that quickly fell by the wayside. I ask that you stop pushing the issues of the south side to the bottom of the list and give our students a performing arts space to be proud of, not one that belongs in a museum. Thank you.
Cole Price.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cole Price, and I live in District 2. Today, I'm here to talk to you about being a Governor School student. I have been a student at Roanoke Valley Governor School since the start of my freshman year, and I have loved every minute of it. In my time at RVGS, I've learned incredible skills and immense knowledge that I will keep with me throughout my life. However, when I return to Bedford County, it seems as though Gov School students usually get the short end of the stick, especially with this new schedule. Today, I'm here to talk about why. The first thing I would like to talk about is club days. Whenever we have club days at Stanton River, because of this new schedule, we return at the later half of club time. This means that we have less time to participate in our clubs and interact with our fellow students and socialize. I'm in the library club at our school, and I use this time along with other yearbook peers to work on the yearbook. Yearbooks take a lot of time and need as much as they can get. But with this new schedule, I only get a small amount of time to work on the yearbook during clubs, and I only get a small amount of time to interact and socialize with my friends. Socialization is a big part of the high school experience, and it's difficult at times when my available time to socialize outside of class is cut short. I would also like to talk about the assemblies our school has on Learning Coach Days. Whenever there are assemblies happening, Gov School students never get to see them. All the pep rallies that our school holds and the guest speakers who come to our school are things that we never get to see. I am someone who loves these events because it allows me a great opportunity to show my school spirit and share with other students and friends. But unfortunately, I have not been able to attend the pep rally my school has held or any of the other guest speakers our school has had because the schedule doesn't allow me to. And as a bright and hardworking student, to miss these fun moments because of a dumb schedule conflict is incredibly annoying and downright frustrating. I would also like to talk about the lunch times in this new schedule. Again, because of this new schedule, I catch the later end of lunchtime on a normal school day. Usually, we return to school about 11:45, sometimes later, which only gives us about 15 minutes or so to travel to the cafeteria, grab lunch, eat lunch, then head back to class. It's not impossible to do, but it is certainly a rushed process. To compensate for this, I usually have to eat on the bus, so I don't come back to school and hurry hastily through my lunch. But I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to change when I eat because my schedule does a bad job of providing time for lunch. But this schedule does, and as a result, I have to. Basically, this schedule hurts our Gov School students. There's no other way to put it. The fun opportunities and events that go on at our school are things we usually never see, and we get a limited lunchtime as well. And while I know this new schedule is unlikely to change at all, I would at least like the point of a Gov School student to be recognized and heard, and maybe in the future, some positive change will happen because of my viewpoints. Thank you for your time.
David Beauregard. David Beauregard. I don't see him. All right. Robert Ashwell.
Good evening. I'm Robert Ashwell. I teach biology and chemistry at Stanton River High School. I would like to address some infrastructure issues pertaining to our school. The first is Building 5, our science building. Building 5 was built in the 1980s. As such, it did not receive the HVAC upgrade administered to other older BCPS buildings in the 1990s. Thus, the HVAC system is almost a decade behind other BCPS buildings. Below are some issues that we have experienced. Abundant mold on walls, ceiling tiles, and other surfaces due to an excess of moisture in the building. On 2 separate occasions, teachers in Building 5 sent samples to be commercially tested, and 4 separate species of mold were identified. Some of these species are linked to asthma, allergies, and respiratory issues. So these issues were brought to the attention of Mr. Santor, Dr. Cornett, in the fall of 2020. They responded promptly with remedial actions such as sealing the exterior wall and cleaning the ductwork. This definitely helped, but mold continues to grow, particularly in the summer when the building is kind of shut up. The septic system habitually backs up, flooded in the grassy area between Building 5 and Building 4 with sewage contaminated water. The boiler malfunctioned in the late winter of 2021-22 and spilled fuel oil in the boiler room. This led to the building having an excess of fumes that lasted several days, and teachers and students having to be moved to other buildings. Again, appropriate and remedial steps were conducted by maintenance. As of October 2022, it has been determined there are multiple gas leaks that have led to classes not being able to safely utilize gas burners such as for chemistry. The heat and air conditioning habitually go out in rooms at random. And finally, the issues are not limited to Building 5. Building 4 has had quite a few mold issues as well. The second issue I'd like to talk about, kind of like Leanne was saying, this very auditorium where we sit. This building was constructed in the early 60s. Currently, there are 3 classes, theater, choir, and band, using the building simultaneously, with choir and theater having a stage where y'all sit as their classroom. On days like today, where the stage is being set up for other users, such as a school board meeting, Ms. Givens has to vacate and find elsewhere to teach her class. Additionally, in a big downpour, the auditorium floods. Again, as Leanne was saying, they put a drain in out here, though we haven't had the leaders to really test it out yet, so we'll see. But it helps, and we do appreciate that. So finally, I've lived my whole life in this area, minus the 8 years I spent in North Carolina and overseas. I'm very invested in this community, as I know many members of the school board are as well. Some of y'all have or will have children that attend Stanton River. Therefore, it is my moral obligation to advocate for this school and the students and families that we serve. We understand that enrollment is declining. We understand that money is limited, but what we respectfully request are 2 things. Number 1, infrastructure issues at Stanton River, specifically HVAC upgrades and renovation of the auditorium, are included on the CIP. We understand there are buildings in the county that take precedence over Stanton River, but we want to be on the list, even if it's a couple years out. Number 2, there were some ponderings over the summer of stopping maintaining the facilities Stanton River at Liberty, basically on the south side, with the intent of building a large central school for both zones. In reality, if this were to come to pass, it would mean, number 1, first, in the time it took to build this notional school, the students at Stanton River and Liberty would face a crumbling, deteriorating school. Number 2, students from the distant corners of the county, say Big Island or Huddleston, where I'm from, would face an hour-plus bus ride to get to this school. Neither of these options are acceptable. Therefore, I request assurance that Stanton River and Liberty will be maintained to provide the best, safest environment for our students, as this is our responsibility as adults. I would love to speak further with anyone interested in more information or to walk out around campus and show you what I'm talking about. Thank you for your time.
Jack Taylor.
Jack Taylor, District 3. I'd like to discuss the upcoming Satanic Temple event. Let me begin by saying that I think the Satanic Temple should not be given any credence as a religion, and further explain that they should not be allowed use of our facilities. In recent statements to WSET ABC, their founder, Lucian Greaves, accused our school district of hypocrisy in allowing a church to meet on Sundays in the auditorium and for allowing a local pastor to have a fundraiser, both at JF. I would like to remind Mr. Greaves that the pastor is a respected member of the Bedford County community, and also that the church that meets at the school include members who are residents of the county and who are only there using these facilities while their own building is being built in Bedford County. These churches and pastors are widely known and have a positive impact on our community. But what is the Satanic Temple? Well, since they use their 501c3 status and are heavily funded, they seek out communities such as ours to create hostile environments by barging their way in under the guise of religious liberty. What they do have is an online membership where people can join their organization nationally. They seem to have a secretive, predatory nature in seeking out places to host events, even though they know there will be so few who attend, if any at all. Flat out, the Satanic Temple uses their 501c3 status to make a mockery of the Christian faith and the rule of law. Allowing them to have use of the facility would give them an open invitation to do other outrageous events, such as when they tried to use have a satanic black mass in 2014 at Harvard University, which caused then President Drew Faust to say in her statement, quote, "An enactment of this ritual is abhorrent. It represents a fundamental affront to the values of inclusion, belonging, and mutual respect that must define our community," end quote. Because of her brave stance, along with the public outcry that followed, Satanic Temple was forced to move their activities off campus into a private venue. So there is precedent here to have, as an example, for this facilities use agreement to be superseded. If Satanic Temple, as a religion, wants to promote themselves as being against otherworldly ideas and promoting a scientific atheism as a religion, don't we already teach this in our science classes? Doesn't biology, physics, natural science courses begin by implying that life came about by undirected processes and chance, completely devoid of God or intelligent design? So aren't we already indoctrinating our kids with a similar worldview? I guess if Satanic Temple is a religion, then what we've been teaching students for about a century is religious as well. The Satanic Temple and their founder are not without scandal. According to a Newsweek article late this year, the Washington State chapter of the Satanic Temple went through a civil suit where complaints were filed against the organization, including mismanaging funds, harassing dissenters, tolerating anti-Semitic remarks, among other things, as well as allegations of sexual deviant gatherings, which included orgies, BDSM, ritual flogging, live ritual sex, and unspeakable other things. Not to mention the widespread anti-Semitism espoused throughout the organization, which Greaves himself makes anti-Semitic remarks in a 2002 podcast, and at other times, according to Temple members. I close to say that life in Satanism is a dark path that snares young people with impressionable minds and should be taken seriously. I just recently became acquainted with a brave young lady whom I will keep anonymous, who gave her life to Christ after years of Satanism and is now speaking out against it. According to the Department of Justice website, teen suicide is one of the most significant problems associated with Satanism. The initial attraction for teens of encouraging antisocial behavior and deviant behavior turns into regret, heightens the likelihood of drug use and depression, and thereby makes suicide seem like the only option for them. I plead with the honorable members of the board to not condone the event and have it moved for the sake of our students and for our children. Thank you.
That concludes the list of people who were signed up. We do have some open slots. Is there anyone here that would like to speak? Okay. I will close out public comment. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a presentation called Pop Quiz. Miss Regina Bratton.
Hello. So this is going to be a very light talk. I'm not much of a presentation, but I'm a Bedford native. I born and raised. I went to Liberty High School, graduated in 1989 with Miss LHS. Really happy to be back here at Stanton River. My mother was the assistant principal here for several years before she went on to be principal at Montvale Elementary. Her name was Ann Booth back in the 80s. So it's really good to be home. So I went to school, got into television and into politics, and I'm back home because I just love Bedford. And I was noticing that there's not a whole lot for kids to do academically outside of school. And my mother was very passionate about education, and as am I. And so I remembered Classroom Quiz from back in the day. Do you guys remember Classroom Quiz from back in the day? It was on WDBJ. It was like a trivia show, and local students from around the area competed. I want to do that again. I think that would be fun, It would be engaging, it would be exciting for the kids, and they have incentives. We want to have tier incentives where, kids can earn scholarship money to go anywhere they want to go, whether it is, to a 4-year college or to a 2-year school or to a tech school. This money will go towards their education to further, enhance their life. And we don't want to just close it off to just have public school children. We want, private schools kids to be involved in this. We want homeschool children to be involved in this. I think it could be a rallying call for our community. We have some problems within our educational system nationwide. I think Governor Youngkin was even quoted saying that it was just, I don't want to get his words wrong, a catastrophe. And he hopes that we're all shocked, and he's referring to the test scores. This could be something to help boost those test scores. This could be something to help, inspire these kids to do more as far as their learning is concerned. So that's what I want to implore upon you. Now, I have a huge background in television news. I think you have my CV in front of you. So this is a light lift for me. It would be something that's fun. What I want from the board, like, why are you here? I want you to endorse this. I want you to get behind it because I need to shoot a pilot. A pilot is a sample program. I'm sure you guys already know that. But I need to shoot a pilot with students so that we can get it on the air. We would tier this to be like a bracket program. So students in each county or each district would be competing against each other, but eventually we want it to be a statewide competition. This could be really huge. Think of the Scripps Spelling Bee, but on a local level. We want to focus on STEM, history, and on reading. So it could be really, really exciting. If you have any questions, please let me know. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'd love to talk to you individually about it. I think it could be great. I mean, heck, I would, if I'm a senior or I'm a junior, I would love to win $5,000 or $1,000. And each tier that you go up, you have an opportunity to win. So you're the winner of the first round would compete against the other winners from their first rounds. So those winners would go on to round 2, and then so on to round 3. So this would be televised, and it would also be online. I would like to go back to WDBJ, but I need a pilot first. And I'm not sure if Pop Quiz would be the actual name of the trivia contest, because I'd actually like to revise Classroom Quiz, but there's licensing agreements that are in place that might not be possible. So that's my spiel. I'd like for you all to consider it and to vote on it at your next meeting to whether or not you would support it or not. And I'm hoping we can move forward. I think we can do great things together. I think this would be super exciting, and it'll be fun and a way for kids to earn incentives, and the teachers would be involved. It wouldn't just be producers doing this. We would have to work with the teachers. We want to know where do they want us to focus? What questions do they want us to ask? What areas of STEM, would be advantageous for us to put a spotlight on. In addition to, because of my political background, it would be really cool to get some of our lawmakers involved. So we have a show in the Washington, D.C. area, that's where I moved from, and it's called It's Academic. And if you look that up online, it's a really cool show, much like this one, and I did some work on It's Academic. And one of the things that they do that I love is that we would send the camera crew to Capitol Hill. So Kevin McCarthy, we would go to his office and we would ask him to ask a question, and we would play that question on the show. Or we would go to our local lawmakers in Richmond. We would hit them up, ask a question for Pop Quiz, and then we would play that, as part of the show. And then we want to get the middle schoolers involved. They may come in with some fun fact on something. Maybe we're doing something on biology. Maybe there's a whole segment on biology. And then we'll have a middle schooler come in with a fun fact about biology. Because we want to get them engaged and get them involved as well. And we want to work with the teachers closely for content. where we should go, and because I'm no expert in education, I'm an expert in television. I know what will sell. I know how to put something on the air. But they're the experts as far as educating our children, and we don't want to discount that. We want to respect that because that's a hard job. So we want to make sure that we're working closely with them, and that's why the board is, we want to get the board behind this to, advocate for us, advocate for this program. It could be a really strong program for Bedford County. Could put us on, we're already on the map, but it could expand our reach significantly. So that's my spiel.
Any questions
Please.
from the board? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming to share this. Have you approached anyone regarding being a moderator?
Well, what we would do is, yes, WDBJ and their talent would be the moderators. Or we'd also go to some local radio stations and
They've
have
agreed
them.
to this, though?
I'm sorry?
They've agreed to this
They can't agree to anything until this is agreed upon. We have to have the students for the pilot. So they know that this is going on. They know that I'm going to be presenting this not only to this school board, but to other school boards. And once I get the school boards involved, because I can't just grab children. I can't just go into a school and say, hey, come, let's be on this show. There's got to be a system in place so that I can get the students for the actual pilot. Are they interested? They're very interested in it. And I have also gone to WSET because WSET is a Sinclair station, and they are based in Hunt Valley, Maryland. So I've had talks with the CEO in Hunt Valley, Maryland about this very idea. But I would like to go with WDBJ because they spearheaded the whole classroom quiz effort back in the 70s. And it would be great to, revitalize that. However, if that's not able to happen, then I would go to Sinclair. Now, Sinclair would open it up to a much broader audience as well.
One other question. Where does the scholarship money come from?
Advertisers. Okay. Local businesses and advertisers.
Thank you for coming and sharing your information with us. I have a question regarding other divisions outside of, even if there isn't any in our state, is there some in other states that you're familiar with that have a similar program?
I'm only familiar with the It's Academic, which is in the Washington, D.C. area, which is all of Maryland, of course, D.C. proper, and Northern Virginia. I'm not familiar with anything like this happening in any other municipality jurisdiction. And that's why I think it's so, advantageous for us to jump on board with this, because if we can get this done around the state of Virginia, and maybe even partner with It's Academic, or, because they are part of Northern Virginia. And that's also aired on the NBC affiliate, and it's on the PBS affiliate right now. So that's something that you can look up. But it's a great, great program. Hillary Howard is the moderator, and she is a very well-known journalist. And that's what we would want to do here, too. And I've been looking at the different television stations, the different talent that they have on those stations. I think it would be great to cycle in different talent to see who works well. And that's what the pilot program is part of. And now, speaking of the pilot program, it's not just one show and then, we're off to the races. The pilot program is going to last for a period of time because we're going to have to work out the kinks. You know what I mean? We have to put a system in place to where we're, are we going to do teams or are we going to do individuals? That's something that we need to figure out. We need to try it out with teams of 3, try it out with teams of 2, try it out with just individuals just to see how it works out. We need to see what the appetite is for local businesses. How much scholarship money are we going to be able to offer? And if we get a big enough media conglomerate like Sinclair behind it, not only can we get the advertising for it, we'll have the online edge there, and then we can definitely get those advertisers because they have teams of people in place whose sole job is to do that. So I hope that I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? So what do you need from us as far, I know you said you want us to come back and vote on it next month, but what, are you looking for a location? Are you looking for us just to say, hey, we'll give you a staff member to work with for our, to, you know, gain access to our students?
You
on
know what, that
availability?
would be fantastic. I want a yes. So if I can get a staff member to help me with the, to connect with students, connect with schools, principals, teachers, that would be terrific. You know, I am looking for locations to shoot the pilot. I was actually looking at a local community college, but, you know, I might be able to do it at one of the schools, you know. This is a nice setup, you know, because we would just need some podiums, and I have the whole production crew. I'm taking care of that. It would be no cost at all to the school system. I am just asking for the access to be able to produce the show, and that's what I need your assistance with, if that makes any sense.
So do we have consensus to move forward with one of our staff members working directly? Consensus? Okay. We have consensus. So Dr. Bergen, I'll ask you to assign that to one of your executive staff members and work directly with Ms. Bratton. So thank you very much.
Well, I'm loving that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That was easy.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, no other questions? All right, have a
Very
good
much.
I
night.
just have one more, I'm sorry. Could you just send us your email or something so that?
Yes,
we
is it
have-
not on that?
It is. It's on her resume.
Is it? Okay, I'm sorry. Thank
And it
you.
should have my phone number on there as well. Call me anytime.
Thank you.
Email
Thank
me
you so much.
anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So move.
So moved by Mr. Daniels. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Dr. Mealy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. All right. Staff reports and information items not addressed in the 5 o'clock session. So finally, we are going to go back to staff reports. Dr. Bergen, I'm seeing a membership forecast. So if you'll introduce your team on that.
Yes, sir. So board members, you'll recall back in October, we had a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors, and we talked at that time with you and with the Board of Supervisors that there's been a decline in enrollment in Bedford County over the past decade. And that decline has occurred in all 3 of our high school zones. It's been more pronounced in the Stanton River Zone and in the Liberty Zone. There have also been declines over the last 10 years in the Jefferson Forest Zone. But even with the decline in Jefferson Forest, there are capacity issues at the elementary level. There are no capacity issues in the Stanton River or Liberty zones. We're not going to be addressing that tonight. Tonight is an enrollment update. Next month, I'm just giving you a precursor. As I think you're already aware, January, we will have a public hearing on the redistricting plan to address the concerns we have with projected enrollments in the Forest Zone at the elementary level. And we'll bring you you've seen the presentation, we've reviewed this in the past, but we will have an information item for the board as well and ask you to take action in February. Tonight, we're not looking back, we're looking forward. So this is a yearly presentation that Mr. Blankenship provides for us in his role as Supervisor of Testing and Demographic Planning. We're going to be looking at what we believe the projected enrollment will be in our school system over the next 5 years. You're going to see in this presentation, unfortunately, what we believe will be a continuation of projected enrollment declines in Stanton River and in the Liberty zones. Of course, that would be absent of any new housing or development that might occur that is not currently on the books. You'll also see in the Forest Zone a leveling off of that enrollment decline so that it won't continue to decline, but it will level off, which gives me good confidence that the work that the Facilities Committee has done with staff in doing some redistricting of the elementary schools will serve us well if these enrollment projections that you're going to be hearing tonight hold. Other than a lack of development, as I shared with you and with the Board of Supervisors when we were last together, the most significant reason behind this declining enrollment, other than lack of development, is a lower birth rate. You're going to see in tonight's presentation, each incoming kindergarten class is smaller than each year's outgoing senior class. So the size of our student body in our high schools and in our middle schools is going to decline as each of these grade levels move up. For the public, the complete report that you're receiving a summary on tonight is, of course, attached to the agenda. It's easily accessible to the public, and the presentation that Mr. Blankenship is about to provide is also available, linked to this agenda item. So I'd now invite Mr. Blankenship to share with you our projection for enrollment over the next 5 years. Mark.
Thank you, Dr. Bergen. So the attached presentations, there's two of them. One is kind of the traditional, what we've been doing for the last 10 years at least, probably. And then the presentation kind of goes in reverse, the slideshow does, with some of the slides that people like to see the most. We put those up front so we get all that excitement out of the way. But this particular slide shows you all of our schools and what we project to be the enrollment for 23-24. And we have a column there that also shows the schools that have pre-K. I think there's 9 schools there that have pre-K programs and what their projections would be with pre-K and without. The total number with pre-K included is 9,085. That is a little bit below what we would expect this year. As you look at that 8825 number without pre-K, this past fall, our number was 8848. So we're projecting to go down slightly, only 25 students or so. So what we're looking at in capacity numbers there are numbers that are from past studies that have been done, and some of those have been updated as renovations to buildings have happened over the years. And our total capacity is listed at 11,745 students. And so what we do is calculate a percent capacity. That is also done by with pre-K and without pre-K. There you can see. So we're right at 75% K-12 capacity and 77% when you add in those pre-K numbers. So based on our pre-K from this current school year, we are projecting that there would be about 260 pre-K slots for next school year, and that is pre-K is funded by federal, state, and local funds, so that could increase or decrease, but it hasn't done a lot of the increase or decrease over the last few years, so we're expecting about 260 for next school year. And with the K-12 membership, just to explain why we do that, because state funding is based on that average daily membership in K-12, because not everybody has pre-K programs, so they base it on kindergarten through 12th grade. This is the table that everyone likes to look at. Principals like to look at this because these numbers are used for staffing and a lot of budgeting. I know Mr. Hagler always likes to see this table as soon as possible. What we have here is a list of our schools and our projected membership by grade level. You can see that down at the bottom is what Dr. Bergen was referencing. You can see that those grade level student totals, 9 through 12 are the only grades that have over 700 total in those. So you can see that those classes, the grade levels 9 through 12 are going to be the last ones projected wise for a while to have over 700. I want to go back real quick because I left something out. On this slide, we have highlighted Boonesboro Forest and New London Academy as schools that, because of that capacity, we are recommending those schools be closed to in-county zone transfer students. That would mean a student from another school zone coming in there, or a non-resident student. So we would recommend that those 3 schools remain closed to zone transfers. That closing schools down to zone transfers has helped over time in getting the capacity number in a reasonable place in most of our schools where we've done it. and we would recommend that be continued at those 3 schools. So we aren't going to look back a long way, but we do need to look back a little bit just to talk about projecting membership. So you can see here there's 2 tables listed. The first table shows you from 2018. That was our fall membership number of 9,480 students. And this past November, we came in at 8,848 students. That is 632 students less over that course of time, or a 6.67% decrease. When we look down at what we're projecting, that number 8825 is for next fall, and then we go out until the fall of 2027, go down to 8,530. That's 295 student decrease, or about 3.3% decrease. Now, this table here shows what we came in the kind of pink highlighted row. That's what our last fall looked like. And then looking forward to the next 5 years, you can see there are not a whole lot of class groups, grade levels above 700. I highlighted those in yellow just to show you that we are getting smaller in terms of grade level numbers, which also, comes in the end, our numbers go down mostly because of that. This is a line graph that shows you what our projection looks like. So the green line in the middle shows you what our actual projection is. As you can see, it's just kind of going down slightly. The other 2 lines are based on a 1% increase or decrease in student numbers. As you can see there, if we, for instance, had a lot of growth in the county, you might expect those numbers to creep up towards the upper line. And if we were losing students at a rapid pace, you would see it going down towards the pink line. But that just gives you a range. We would like to guarantee, but we can't always guarantee that we would come in somewhere in that range, but we have been pretty accurate over the last few years. So just a couple notes before I go on to Forrest. For kindergarten totals, and Dr. Bergen also mentioned this, we do base those, we get the stats from the Virginia Department of Health, and it's based on the number of births to parents residing in Bedford County. And we do kind of have found over the years that number is pretty accurate. It's pretty close to what we actually see in kindergarten. We go back 5 years, and we find that those numbers are kind of what we've been seeing coming into kindergarten. And on these numbers, we really don't adjust. These are straight projected numbers off of our historical membership that has actually been reported to the DOE. We don't adjust these numbers for growth. We don't add in students. It is basically what we are expecting. And as you can see there, also what Dr. Bergen said, we are going from, we had 649 students in kindergarten. And you see there, 680 is kind of a hopeful. Based on our birth rates, we look like we might have a few more next year. But as you can see, in the out years, when you go down to 25, 26, and 26, 27, those sizes get smaller. So on to some of the zones, and we'll start alphabetical with Forest Zone. You can see here that the zone has decreased over the last 5 years, but if you look down at the blue table, over the next 5 years, we really not seeing much of a decrease. In 2023, 24, we're expecting 3,779 students, which goes up slightly, goes back down, but also kind of levels out. In 5 years, we're seeing only 6 fewer at 3,773 students. As you can see here, just like in the overall membership, you see that some of those class sizes are, or those grade level numbers are over 300, but the rest, if you go down towards kindergarten through really 7th grade. There's not a whole lot of grade levels that are over 300, but there's quite a few in grade 8 through 12, specifically 9 through 12. So that zone is seeing the same thing we're seeing overall in terms of smaller groups, grade level numbers coming in. And as you see there, just this current school year, we have 326 12th graders in that zone and only 269 kindergartners in that zone. So this is the lines that show you what we expect in the forest zone. The green line in the middle is what we were referencing earlier, is it's staying pretty steady. That's our projection. If you see a lot of houses going up in forest, it could be on the higher end. It could be up towards the blue line. And I really would not expect it to be lower because I know what's going on in that area and how they're building up. So I would expect it to be somewhere in that green line to blue line range, but that's what we're expecting in the zone in forest. On to Liberty. The Liberty zone, over the years, we've found it's kind of leveled out a little bit. We did see a decrease, about 6% decrease in the last 5 years. As you can see there, the numbers have gone down to 2,311 this fall. And if we project that out 5 years, you see there we're going down to 2,235 students. That's 121 students lower, and that's about a 5% decrease over the next 5 years. This chart shows you some information on the grade level sizes in that zone. We only have one over 200, and that's what stood out to me on this table. That's the current 10th grade class at Liberty High School, and the rest of these grade levels are below 200. Some of them were a lot below 200, but we're hoping that over the next few years, we see them level out in the 170 to 190 range. This is our line graph for the Liberty Zone that shows you a decrease expected. Pretty much all three of those lines go down slightly in the first couple years. The good news would be we hope it levels out with some additional students coming into that zone. If not, we are definitely expecting some more decreases over the years. Stanton River Zone. You can see here that zone has decreased by 267 students over the last 5 years. That's a 9% decrease. So in our projections, you see there they continue to decrease, but hopefully, and by our projections, we are expecting a little bit less of a decrease by 168 students, fewer in fall of 2027. That's about a 6% decrease. So in this table, you can see I've highlighted some of the larger grade level numbers, and some of them are in the well over 200, but most of them are in the 190 to 200 student range. We're going to see, as in other areas in the forest zone I mentioned, that the students, the grade levels graduating will be higher than the kindergarten classes coming in. So we're going to lose some off the top as well in this zone. This is the lines projections for the Stanton River Zone. As you can see there, we are still projecting decreases in that zone. So I want to mention one more time that these do not reflect any kind of adjustments for growth. We know that there are some areas that are growing and some areas that are not growing as much. We also have not calculated anything into these for any of the redistricting. So if and when that happens, we will adjust these projections accordingly. So that concludes my remarks. Do you have any questions for me? Questions?
More of a statement. I know we continue to talk about the 3 zones And of course, when we look at Liberty and Stanton River, everybody up here is concerned that the numbers continue to slow down and go lower. In your conversations, Dr. Bergen, with the town administrator or county administrator and the town, have they shared with you any of their strategic plan to grow those two areas? It's obvious that we have capacity in our schools, and we're ready to take on more students. But have they shared with you what their plan is around growth in helping facilitate the recruitment of families and/or students?
The shortest answer I can give you, Mr. Hill, is no, not in any formal way. Although there is a planning commission, and we do work very closely with them. They share information with us because we're going to be on the receiving end, as they approve new housing developments. In my informal conversations with members of the Board of Supervisors, and you probably have heard this as well, the plan is to grow Forest. That's where developers want to develop. That's where families want to move. Just in my short time here in 18 months, I've just seen, as you all have seen, Perryville Road just has become just like an urbanized area. It's becoming very congested in that part of the county. But what I've heard anecdotally is that when the citizens of the county are asked who are outside of the forest zone, are you looking for growth? The answer is no, that they want to maintain a rural setting, pastoral setting, mountain views, and don't want to see any more dense development. So the only areas that I've seen where there's been any concerted effort for growth is as you head down towards the lake. There's a little bit of development and a little bit of development out as you go west towards Roanoke off of 340, but no formal presentations to us that there's a plan to grow, which would increase school enrollments. We have the capacity if there is growth.
Any other questions or comments?
Before we leave this topic, can we scroll back to slide 3? Whoever has the technology. Mark, is that you?
Yep.
So we're going to revisit this with you next month. These numbers are based upon where children currently reside. We're going to be offering a recommendation through the Facilities Committee that we rezone and we adjust some of the forest zone schools. Of course, families are going to have the option to say they're not interested, and the board has we've already previewed for the community that if you want an exception, you will have it for life. So you want your kid to stay in the elementary school they're in, that's where they're going to be. If nothing were to change, we've talked a lot about some of our smaller schools, and I'm just going to, just by example, just pull out of here Otter River. So if nothing else changes, you can see we're projecting kindergarten at 30, first grade at 27, second grade at 27, third grade at 31. That's 2 classrooms at each of those grade levels. You take those numbers and you divide by 2, it's great that you end up with classrooms of 13, 14, 15 kids. That's not how we normally staff our schools. So this isn't a criticism, it's just an observation of the challenges we have. The smaller the school, the more challenge it is to balance out those class loads, and you end up with either a number that just seems too much. We've had a lot of conversation about that one school in particular, like is 27 too much? You divide it by 2, you have 13 and 14. An ideal number in a school of that size with 2 homerooms would be, I think Georgia and Susan, having been in the role, you're looking for about 40 kids at that grade level. 2 classrooms of 20, it just sort of fits the pocket. When you get an odd, but they're all that number, as you see it, and you see other schools with that same example. So we'll wait and see with the redistricting as we shift some families around. I'm hoping to see a better balance in that because it is budgetarily challenging for us. When the numbers are small like that. The larger the school, the easier it is to disperse the kids and divide the FTEs. I just wanted to make that point. We'll revisit it next month when we're looking at the redistricting. And we'll take all the kids, if they all went where we said they were going to be rezoned, we'll show you what those numbers would look like. Okay?
All right, you're up next with policy updates.
Yes, sir. These are policy updates for information. These come from the last meeting of the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee. That meeting was held on November 29th. As an outcome of that meeting, we have 6 policies for the board's consideration tonight. They are GBMA, which is support staff grievances. You'll see that the policy has been updated to reflect changes in state code for timelines for requesting a hearing, holding a hearing, and then decisions after a hearing's completion. Policy IGDA, Student Organizations, has been updated in its title with language added regarding responsibilities of the school administration. JFB, Student Involvement and Decision-Making, is largely unchanged other than some updates to legal and cross-references. JHCA, Physical Examination of Students, is recommended to be updated regarding school-level requirements for physical examination and out-of-state requirements for physical examinations. JHCB, Student Immunizations Policy, is being restructured to include the same information just from paragraph format into more of a bulleted list fashion. And KGA, Sales and Solicitation in Schools, is largely unchanged with just the addition of a cross-reference. As always, the full red line versions are available to the board and the public by following the link on this particular agenda item. And I'd be happy to answer any questions along with the two members of the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee on these policies, which are up for information and will come back for adoption in January.
Right. Takes us to number 10, approval of program of studies. Dr. Bergen, did you want to?
Yeah, this is an action item. You all received last month the updated program of studies. I'd just like to echo some of your comments from last month. It's beautifully done. There's a new format this year. It's very easy to navigate. There's clickable links. We're very, very pleased to offer this for our students, parents, and staff. Since we were together in November, there have been 3 very minor revisions. They're noted in the agenda item. They're noted. I'll just quickly. We had a couple catches from school level staff. As a for instance, advanced marketing. It said advanced marketing. It's really strategic marketing. Should have said strategic marketing. They're minor changes. The substance of the courses have not changed. But if you have any questions, we'd be happy to go into more detail on those 3 minor changes. We're looking for your approval tonight so that we can begin to enroll students for courses for next school year.
Do I have a motion to approve program of studies as presented last month?
We approve the program of studies as presented last month.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. All right. 10.02, approval of Stanton River High School water loop bid.
Yeah, how appropriate we're at Stanton River talking about the water loop here. So this project, the water loop project, is in the current CIP. It's funded in the CIP. There are several sections of the water pipe loop that over the years have needed to be replaced, and when we've gone in to make those replacements, we've noted that the pipe as it sits now is very thin and brittle, which gives us concerns that we're going to continue to be dealing with disruptions and problems. So it was recommended a full replacement of the water loop occur. It did go out for bid. The bids were opened on December 1st. They were reviewed by the Facilities Committee with staff on December 2nd. Very pleased that the low bid is very close to what was in the CIP budget. So the low bid was from Moore's Electric for roughly $1.1 million. We're asking that the board approve this bid of Moore's Electric so that you're authorizing us to enter into a contract with Moore's Electric. The overall cost, in addition to what was bid out, there'll be some contingency costs and some construction administration costs, some additional design work. It will not to exceed $1,370,546. Again, it's funded in the CIP. Do you have any questions? 1,370,546. And that information is also in the agenda item. I might want to also add the importance of this is this water loop is what feeds the HVAC system. So we had even some comments here tonight about some inconsistencies with heating and air conditioning. This is a critical piece of the HVAC system. We need it to function as it's designed to function. And also repairing this closed loop system is going to lessen the strain on the well on site here that feeds both the high school and the middle school. So this is a have to. We really need to take care of this. It's in your CIP. It is funded. We're looking for approval of the low bid.
Questions? All right. So I have to ask this, as far as we're replacing this water loop, is that based on the fact of we're replacing because that's what's there? Or did we truly go out and find out, is there
Pretty bad.
so is there another replacement that we could replace the whole thing?
That's it, that is the whole thing.
No, but I'm saying, like, he said it feeds like the HVAC system, so is that just a piece of the HVAC system that we're replacing? Or
It's a large piece of it.
Okay.
Probably the main component.
And maybe I need to say it a different way, so I forgot how much you said we're spending on this.
1.3.
Yeah.
1.3.
Yeah, 1.3 all in.
So could we go and get a brand-new system at 1.3 and leave out this water loop? That's just that's my question. Okay,
No.
good deal. All right,
And it may come in even lower than that. They're looking at some options
okay.
for different material that may be substantially, lower, so.
Do I have a motion to approve Stanton River High School water loop bid?
Vice Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the Stanton River High School water loop bid from Moore's Electric for not to exceed $1,370,546.
Have a motion by Dr. Mealy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes. Approval of SY 2023-24 budget calendar.
Yeah, so again, this is an action item you receive for information, our proposal for the budget calendar for next year. I'm not going to review it in its entirety unless you have questions. I just want to highlight, we do value and need the board's upfront input. Mr. Hagler and I, working through your Budget and Finance Committee, have asked for you all to communicate through your colleagues, through the committee, your feedback on what you consider to be budget recommendations or priorities. Dr. Mealy is the chair of that committee, is going to be looking to receive your feedback by the 3rd of January, because on the 5th of January, we have a committee meeting, and we're going to be looking at that information along with the information that comes in over the winter holidays with the governor's proposed budget with the committee. The rest of the dates and the purposes of the meetings are in the agenda item. Happy to answer any questions for you, or members of the committee, or Mr. Hagler is here to answer questions as well.
I just have a comment. Last year, I sent you all lists to say what were your priorities. So this year, you're probably going to get 2 lists, because Mr. Hagler did go out to the schools and he asked staff what their requests were. So you'll have like wants from the staff, but then you'll have a list also of unfunded items from last year that we didn't get finished. So when I do that, because this is going to be a tight turnaround, I really need it back. I'll put something like, a day or 2, but be checking, because we don't have the time that we had last year. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the 2023-24 budget calendar presented.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Daniels. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes. Okay, 10.04, Dr. Bergen, organizational plan.
Yeah, Mr. Hill, tonight I'm seeking the board's approval, as required by your policies, of a new organization plan. Do we have that technology to display on the screen? We do not. Okay. I apologize for that. It is attached to the agenda item, and if you have a device in front of you, you'll be able to see it there. It's also available to the public should they wish to review it. This plan, if approved tonight, would go into effect on January 1 after we return from the winter break. Before I review it in any more detail, I just want to pause and offer my thanks on behalf of myself and the board to Mac, Dr. Dewis, who's with us here tonight. He's faithfully served Bedford County for 18 years, including the past 9 years as our Chief Operations Officer. Mac, thanks for all of your service to our students and families. With his departure at the end of this month, supervision of the departments that are currently supervised by the Chief Operations Officer will be dispersed or will shift primarily to Dr. Woodford and to Mr. Hagler. As indicated in the proposed new organization plan, to reflect those increased responsibilities, their titles would change to Deputy Superintendent and to Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations, respectively. On the organizational plan, in the center of the plan, there are a number of green boxes. Those are the green boxes that would be under the supervision of the Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Woodford. In addition to her current responsibilities as the Chief Learning Officer for supervising curriculum and instruction, special education, and student support services, she would then also assume supervision of the technology department as well as for the testing and demographic planning. Also in the organizational chart, as if you're looking at it on the left-hand side, are a row of red boxes. Those would be the responsibility of the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations, Mr. Hagler. So in addition to his current responsibilities as the Chief Finance Officer, Mr. Hagler would be assuming supervision of the departments of Transportation, Maintenance, and Nutrition. That is all the information that appears in the organizational chart. There's also supervision of the Office of Safe Schools that will shift to Dr. Cornett, our Executive Director for School Administration, and serving as a hearing officer. I've shared with the board that we are going to use a retired, your former acting superintendent is going to serve in that role in January, and I'm going to assume that role in February for a period of time. Those are all of the duties that are currently under the Chief Operations Officer, and be happy to answer any questions you might have about my proposed organization plan at this time.
Questions from the board? Okay. Do I have a motion for the organizational plan?
Vice Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the organizational plan as presented from Dr. Bergen.
I have a motion from Dr. Mealy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Daniels. All those in favor of the organizational plan presented by Dr. Bergen signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Plan passes. 10.05, proposed school board meeting dates, locations for 2023. Dr. Bergen.
Yes, per the direction of the school board, we're proposing that we will continue to hold our meetings on a rotating basis through our 3 high schools. They don't follow in any sequential order. You'll notice as you look over the item as it's attached in the agenda, because we have worked in advance with the schools to know what events they already have on their calendar, and we're accommodating, of course, our students and our staff in those schools. So it doesn't follow a pattern, but we will be in each of the 3 high schools 4 times over the course of the next year. We normally take this up as an organizational matter in January, but we need to know where we're meeting in January. So we're going ahead and presenting this information tonight for your action so that we'll all know where to show up in January, and then for the remaining months. So January, if approved tonight, will occur right back here at Stanton River High School, and will be our annual organizational meeting. The other dates and locations are in the handout. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Otherwise, I'm seeking your approval of this meeting dates and locations for the next 12 months.
Questions or comments from the board? No? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the proposed school board meeting dates, locations for 2023? Motion?
Motion to approve it as presented.
Mr. Holbrook. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Nelms. All right. All those in favor of approving the proposed school board meeting dates, locations for 2023, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes. All right, 10.06, approval of policy updates presented at the November 10th, 2022 board meeting. Dr. Bergen.
Yes, sir. There were 7 policies that we considered last month. They're all returning for action tonight. They were all read into the public record last month, so I'm not going to take the board's time reading them again. But again, I'll be happy to answer any questions or defer to the members of the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee if there are any questions about these proposed policy revisions that we're asking you to take action on next.
Comments or questions from the board? All right. Do I have a motion for the approval of policy updates presented at the November 10th, 2022 board meeting?
Motion to approve the policy updates as presented in the November meeting.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Nelms. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Mealy. All those in favor of approval of the policy updates presented at the November 10th, 2022 board meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That passes. All right, superintendent's report.
All right, there we go. So we'll lead off by recognizing some of our Future Farmers of America FFA students. The 95th National FFA Convention was held recently in Indianapolis. Liberty Middle FFA was recognized as a 2-star national chapter, and Liberty High School received the highest rating as a 3-star national chapter. The Liberty FFA Veterinary Science team also brought home the title of Silver Rated Team. Congratulations to the team. There were also individual recognitions. Megan Cash and Anna Groves at a gold rating, Kaylee Lindsay at a silver rating, and Natalie Corbin at a bronze rating. Additionally, Liberty alumni Charlie Moser and Kevin Painchild and Joel Witt were all there. And were recognized as American Degree recipients, which is the gold standard for National FFA. Very spectacular accomplishments continue for our FFA program. Congratulations to our Liberty sponsors and students. And not to be outdone, the Smith Mountain FFA was also recently recognized as a 2-star national chapter at the National FFA Convention. Stanton River alumni Emma Jackson, along with Josh Powers and Danielle Tuck, also all received the honor of the receiving American degrees. We're also equally proud of our sponsors and our students down here in the Smith Mountain FFA program. Jefferson Forest High School recently took the title of Region 4D Champs for their production of The Beggar's Opera. Blake McGregor received honorable mention, and Sarah Lynn Laux and Carter Rice were named Best Actress and Best Actor, respectively. But wait, that's not all. Over the weekend, they went on to become Class 4 state runner-up. Sarah Lynn Laux and Blake McGregor received state recognition for Outstanding Actor Awards. The next stop for these thespians will be performing at the Southeastern Theater Conference in Lexington, Kentucky in the week of March 1 through 5. Break a leg. Select members of the Stanton River High School recently auditioned for a spot in the 2023 District 6 All-District Choir. Pictured here, 2 of our students, Maggie Mitchell and Lila Young, were selected, and your dedication and hard work do not go unnoticed. Great job to both of you. Let's shift down to the elementary level. We'd like to offer our congratulations to Lisa Taylor. Lisa's a kindergarten teacher at Huddleston Elementary School, and she sought and was awarded a Virginia Agriculture in the Classroom grant. The grant seeks to encourage Virginia teachers to integrate agriculture into their daily curriculum. To celebrate and support teachers who do so, there are garden and agriculture experience grants, so students will have a better understanding of food production and career opportunities in agriculture or agribusiness. The class is going to use the grant funds to buy planting seeds and books and learn more about growing vegetables and farming, and they plan to learn about different fruits and vegetables and milk and how it all works to produce all of this food. And then they plan to create their own take-home vegetable gardens and have the opportunity to sample various foods, including some that they may not have tried before. So when all that's coming to fruition, I'm sure they'll invite me because I love to eat, and I'll let you know when it is, and we can all go down and enjoy the food together. The Virginia High School League recently announced its 2022 All-State Competition cheer teams. So let's all cheer for Jefferson Forest High School, Class 4 First Team All-State Team, consisting of Mallory Marshall, Maddie Zigarelli, Lorelei Moss, Madeline Powell, and Madeline Purdue. Congratulations. And congratulations also to Stanton River High School's Kara Martin, who made the 2022 Class 3 Second Team All-State Competition Cheer Team. I was going to say, give me a C. Okay. Congratulations to you, Kara, on your recognition. You, I hope, are already aware, if you're monitoring our social media channels on our school division website, that we have been working in partnership with the Bedford Area Educational Foundation so that we can recognize 2 staff members each month who go above and beyond to make a difference in people's lives every day. We are very appreciative of this partnership with the BAEF, which allows us to provide some small monetary recognitions to these recipients. Congratulations, pictured here on the screen, for November's Bedford's Best recipients. They are Liberty High School art teacher Melissa Friedewald and Goodview Elementary School Counselor Octavia Davis. I had the pleasure of visiting both of their schools and presenting them with this gift of appreciation for all that they do. They were both so touched and completely surprised by this recognition. Thank you to those members of the community who nominated them. And by way of reminder, if anyone watching this meeting or is in the room tonight would like to nominate somebody, we do this every month. So please go onto our website. You can find the nomination form by clicking on the Bedford's Best link under District News. The Virginia Association of Science Teachers, known as VAST, hosted their first in-person Professional Development Institute in a number of years. Two of our Forest Middle School teachers, Cindy Watson and Erica Mabry, presented Mission to Mars, Mimicking Perseverance and Ingenuity activity. Cindy also presented her Plant the Moon Challenge, which we had talked about at a past school board meeting. She and her students garnered some national recognition for that presentation, and they are continuing to compete again this year. Also, Allison Kapler, our supervisor for science and computer science, was also invited to present at VAST in collaboration with her colleagues from Campbell County, Amherst County, and the Central Virginia Regional Science Fair Steering Committee. Their topic was to share with other teachers and leaders who were gathered ways to keep the momentum going for regional science fairs, despite the challenges we've all faced over these last couple of years. So we just want to thank Cindy and Erica, our two Forest Middle School teachers, for sharing their expertise with their colleagues, and Allison, of course, also for sharing her expertise. We had a chance to congratulate this young lady in person tonight. It's yet another opportunity for us to stop and recognize the awesomeness of Zoe Lamanna. She was just crowned state champion at the VHSL 4A Girls State Cross Country Championship. What a tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations again to you, Zoe. And not to be outdone, Alex Jordan, who you also met tonight, made another unbelievable run for Jefferson Forest High School to become the VHSL 4A Boys State runner-up. Congratulations to you, Alex. If you weren't aware, the school division has been partnering with the Bedford County Department of Solid Waste so that we can do some recycling. We've been recycling cardboard and other materials at 9 of our schools. The bins that we receive from the Solid Waste Department allow for convenient storage of material that would otherwise just find its way into a landfill. By saving the county money on waste disposal, as well as protecting our habitat, our students are learning important lessons in environmental stewardship. So special congratulations to the students and the staff who are making it happen at those 9 schools, which are Bedford Elementary, TJ, and Stanton River. I'm sorry, I said 9 schools, but I have 3 schools listed. Bedford Elementary, Thomas Jefferson Elementary, and Stanton River Middle School. Those 3 are our top recyclers of the 9. And combined, all 9 schools have recycled 17.5 tons of material in 2022. And we're not done. November was Take Your Legislator to School Month. This is an annual event sponsored by the VSBA and serves as another opportunity for us to promote our productive and positive relationships between our state delegates and senators with all of our locally elected officials. It was really my privilege to visit Bedford Elementary School, Boonesboro Elementary, Forest Elementary, Goodview Elementary, Forest Middle, and all 3 of our high schools with the 2 members of our Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, Mr. Hill and Mr. Daniels. We hosted and were able to share the good things happening in Bedford County on various days with Senator Steve Newman, Delegate Wendell Walker, 2 members of our Board of Supervisors, Charlotte Bansley and Edgar Tuck. Thank you to those individuals for their investment in time, including our board members, and we'll do it again next year. We are so proud of our Teachers of the Year. Congratulations to the 20 teachers who are pictured here, and you can find full descriptions of these awesome individuals on our Facebook page. Just want to, again, recognize them. Art Johnson, Jessica Scow, Kristen Honeycutt, Taylor McDonald, Jesse Owen, Lisa Willis, Aaron Jones, Brittany Mastretta, Thomas Fox, Eric Seckman, Patricia McDool, Angie Craigie, Madison Carnes, Mandy Simpson, Lynn Doss, Regina Davis, Greg Harris, Crystal Bondurant, Becky Melton, and Julie Polk. On November 17th, we presented our top 3 finalists for Bedford County Public Schools Teacher of the Year. They are pictured here, and congratulations to these 3 finalists. They are from Jefferson Forest High School, Thomas Fox, Manita Elementary School's Angie Craigie, and Stanton River High School, Regina Davis. In addition to Bring Your Legislature to School Month, November is also Native American Heritage Month, celebrated across the country. It's an opportunity to celebrate the rich and diverse cultures and traditions and histories of the Native peoples. Students across the school division have been making replica canoes, learning about teepees and totem poles and other activities so they can learn more about the important contributions and history of the Native cultures. Congratulations again, Mr. Daniels, on your election to serve as the District 7 School Board member. Mr. Daniels was sworn in this past Tuesday morning by Bedford County Circuit Judge James Updike, where he recited his oath of office for the upcoming school year. Did you know that December 14th marks the 50th anniversary of the launch of NASA's final Apollo mission? This was the mission that took 3 astronauts to the moon and back in December 1972, and it was NASA's 6th and final mission to successfully land astronauts on the moon. As the Apollo program came to an end, space exploration efforts shifted to missions to low Earth orbit, such as the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station. And here we are, 5 decades later. There are currently several space agencies from around the globe developing new crewed missions to return to the moon and move forward even further to Mars. We'd like to use this 50th anniversary of the Apollo 17 moon landing to encourage all of our students to do what? Shoot for the moon, because if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And finally, here's this month's 3 things you need to know. I piqued your interest with the 3 finalists for Teacher of the Year. I just want to inform you that we're going to be announcing the winner, the finalist, on December 13th. So tune into the school division website and our school division social media channels for that announcement. Secondly, just by way of reminder, everybody, we're going to be closed for the winter holidays. All schools and offices will be closed to students and staff beginning December 19th and stretching through the 1st of January in celebration of our winter holiday. I really hope that our students and our staff in particular will take this time to relax and rejuvenate and refresh and come back geared up for the new calendar year. And I certainly hope everyone has a blessed holiday season. And then lastly, 3 things you need to know. Upon our return from winter break, shortly thereafter, report cards will go home with students on the 10th of January to recognize all of their academic accomplishments from the first semester. Mr. Hill, that concludes my superintendent's presentation.
Got a lot of great things going on in Bedford County, so
Yes,
really
we do.
appreciate you sharing that. All right, matters from the board, committee reports. Ms. Harrison, we'll ask you to go first.
So the facility committee met on December the 2nd, and pretty much what Mr. Blankenship has shared with us, and a lot of even the action item that we discussed regarding the Waterloo bid, were items that we talked about and discussed. We also spent some time discussing the capacity issue, and of course, bringing that as a January public meeting and talking about it further, and the board taking action in February. So that'll be coming up. And once again, I just will encourage all the board members to please take a look at the minutes that's listed in board docs for you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask either myself or Mr. Holbrook, who serves on the committee with me. I also serve on the Laurel School Board, and we met on Wednesday of this week, so December the 6th. And it was such a wonderful, informative meeting. It was an opportunity for the board members to be introduced to a program that the area supervisors, special ed supervisors, including our own Kelly Jennings, had presented to the board the possibility and suggestion that we create a program that would certainly really utilize the Laurel School in a bigger and more capacity way to help our students. And so one way in which to do that was a program that they've developed called SOAR. And so this program is really just designed to help those students who are at the Tier 3 level. And so Dr. Tiffany Stevens, along with another staff member, presented to the board the program, and I was just really excited to see the interventions that they've put in place, the opportunity that our school division has to help our students who, of course, are identified and who have an IEP to get ready and be better prepared for school, and if they are having any difficulties, then we're going to help them and give them the support that they need so that they can come back into their regular classroom environment and be successful in it. And I also really think that our board, that as a whole, we should be very, very proud of the fact that we have put in place a lot of support for our students. And I feel that that's our job as a school board, is to make sure that we are putting our students first and we're giving them the support and the programs that they need. And so one of the things during our discussion that the other school board members were talking about were programs to help our students who are, say, Tier 1 students and Tier 2 students, and interventions. And so I was so proud that our school, that our division, that we are offering intervention programs and specialists to help support the students. And there are some divisions that don't have the type of program that we have in place to help these students. So I think it's just really a moment for us to pause and just be very grateful and thankful that we have that foresight, that insight to provide these students with the type of support that they need to help them in the classroom. So that's really all that I had in terms of the reports there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Dr. Mealy?
We do not have a financial committee report this month. Our next meeting is January 5th.
Covered.
We have our first CTE committee meeting on December 15th, so.
Mr. Daniels?
At the SEAC, we met on December 1st in the library in Manita, so we took the show on the road. We did discuss the Rotary Club in Forest has gifted to Bedford County Library in Forest a special needs playground, and it's been something that at the SEAC we've talked about for a while. This is the first phase of it that they're having, but they do want public input to see what would be included in the next several phases. It's designed to be completely inclusive, to meet physical kids with different physical abilities as well as sensory items. So that was a good victory, and we encourage input to see what else we can get done. There were some other things that we talked about, such as support, para support in certain classes, and some issues with transportation that we've discussed and are working through. We have a SEAC board meeting on March 30th. We do have a regular meeting in January as well. That's it.
IGA meeting, I'll just say we met back on November 29th, which was presented tonight. And our next meeting, we are not having a December meeting. So our next IGA meeting is on January 17th at 9 o'clock in the morning. I will mention that we will also be have an opportunity to attend the legislature time for school boards in January in Richmond. So be looking for that if that's something that you're interested in, and going and meeting with any of the legislatures to talk about school board policies, funding, anything that you can imagine. We have opportunity to meet with our local legislatures. So I do invite our board. I would love it if all 7 of us could go, but I understand there's scheduling conflicts, but I do welcome anybody to go. I will mention during this time, because I think it goes both with just me as a school board member, but also IGA, but I did attend the Virginia School Board Association in Williamsburg back last month. And I just wanted to read aloud what the VSBA, their 2023 VSBA legislative priorities. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with these, but I want it to be public so people understand what those priorities are. So the first one is local control. That VSBA opposes any attempts to divest local school boards of their constitutional authority. Funding and budget. Article 8 of the Virginia Constitution establishes public education as a shared responsibility. School boards will work in partnership with Virginia General Assembly. So funding and budget. School safety is a priority for them. School divisions have a responsibility to families, students, and staff to ensure a teaching/learning environment that is safe and free of disruption. It goes on. Charter schools. VSBA believes that all public schools should be freed from regulations impeding education reform. School choice. VSBA believes that all public schools should provide a quality education for each student, and that in meeting local educational needs, locally develop policies and program options which give parents the opportunity to select schools or programs for their children should be considered among a variety of possible educational strategies. School infrastructure and modernization. The SBA is extremely appreciative of the Virginia General Assembly's appropriation in the 22 through 24 biennial budget for school construction and infrastructure modernization. Employee shortages. Effective employees are essential to providing a high-quality education as required in the Constitution of Virginia. The recruitment and retention of employees in the face of critical shortages across regions is essential to maintaining education quality. And the last one that is listed is regarding broadband connectivity. The use of the internet is a necessity for providing each student with a quality education. Again, not promoting or saying nay to any of those. Just wanted it to be public of what the VSBA is supporting as their 2023 legislative priorities. So, all right, so comments and concerns from school board members. We'll start with Mr. Daniels.
Well, as we round out the year and celebrate the holidays, we also begin to think about New Year's resolutions and new starts and new seasons. This last year was full of great resolutions, a teacher's resolution that brought real change and positive impact for our teachers and staff, built from teacher feedback, and a parent's resolution restoring rights, and most of all, trust from the pandemic era. As a board, we want to hear from teachers and staff in areas that we can focus on moving forward to make Bedford County Public Schools a better system. As Dr. Bergen said, that recently we met with legislators and went around to a lot of schools, and we heard from a lot of students and a lot of teachers. And one of the questions Dr. Bergen likes to ask as we're hanging out with the kids and staff is, if you had $10 million, what would you do to your school? I was pretty surprised by a lot of the answers that the kids had. And besides not being rained on at Liberty and Stanton River High Schools, which is a big issue, they asked for things like updated bathrooms and new lighting, some new paint on the walls, and more food options. It's no surprise that kids like food. If you have teenagers, you know that they can eat a lot. I have 3 of them. But it seemed like what they asked for was pretty simple stuff to be comfortable. So I just want to offer that up to the Facilities Committee is just some food for thought, just as we're thinking through things and as things kind of change in our list of priorities. With this new year, that brings new beginnings and what we need to be thinking. And we need to be thinking about our graduating classes before they get here, before it gets here. Our approach to their next step needs to be an all-of-the-above approach. It's not college or career, it's college and career. At graduation, this is the last time that we get to make an impression and help their decision. I would like for us as a board to consider all options to get these kids an opportunity. It's an opportunity that they deserve. I would like us again to consider having Legacy Education Center back with Randy Dunton in January, February to present the progress that they have shown since his last presentation, and maybe invite some local businesses and see where they're making an impact. Results matter. After the goodwill that he showed to help a student family in need, his ability to educate and at the same time as make student work ready after graduation, it could be a great thing. The only thing I remember him asking for was an opportunity to meet with seniors in their direction and see if there was and see what opportunities they had. I got to go up to Amherst and witness this in action, and I think it's something that we need to consider. I would like to ask our administrative team, I think they work on this, they have all this information, is just to get us some any information on past graduating classes, and that include, how many of our students are accepted into college, military service, and job placement. If there's other avenues to explore, I think we owe it to the students. Susie G. Gibson is bursting at the seams. That's great progress. We need to keep sharing our victories. Keep up the great work to the teachers, staff, and all their supporting teams, and we must continue to do everything we can to lift our students up. Moving into next year, I just want to ask some questions. How can we be better? Can we employ some outside-of-the-box thinking to drive better results? Can we simplify things for our teachers? Can we give them more autonomy to find solutions that directly benefit their students? Again, results matter. As a part of this board, I've always wanted to help support our students any way that I can. We've raised some money this year, and we want to continue to do that. I've donated my school board salary every month to Bedford County Public School programs. In November and December, I'll be donating to Liberty Athletics and JF Athletics. And in January, I'll be committing my salary to Liberty FFA, who I got to meet with at Centerfest, and it was a real pleasure. If you're a teacher, a coach, a club, a sport or activity, and have a use for a contribution, please let me know. February is right around the corner. Otherwise, let's stay positive, and stay involved as a community, and let's use our influence to benefit the students. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
I just want to echo what Mr. Daniel said. We have had a great year of positive things happening in this county. And I also want to send a reminder out to parents that this year we did have a lot of bullying issues that were taking place, but I also want people to understand that we as adults have to be the example we want to see our children. So what I'm saying is that we can't continue to use social media to bash other adults and expect our children not to do the same when they get in school. Other than that, it's been a great year. Had a recent loss, and I want to thank everybody for your thoughts and prayers on that. And then, like Mr. Daniel said, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Well, I'd just like to say a few things in response to one of the speakers tonight about the auditorium here. We're well aware that it needs updating, and we're working on it. I'm glad the drain worked. We know it's a Band-Aid, and I'm not sure why it took so long, decades to get that, but it's there, and and we're working on the canopies, Stanton River and Liberty. It's nothing's going to happen in the real near future, but it is on the agenda. It's these things aren't going unseen. It's a lot to work through. So that's all I got.
Dr. Mealy?
Yes, I wanted to start by just wishing everybody happy holidays, our staff, for everything you've done. I know these last few years have been difficult, and to our students as well. Everyone needs to rest, relax, and do something that's fun. I also want to just say thank you to Dr. Dewis for his 18 years of service in Bedford County. I hope your next journey is fun. So thank you for all that you've done. I also want to just follow along with something that Ms. Harrison said in support of our students. And remember that one of the most important things that we've done in the last few years is the development of our intervention specialist team. This allows teachers to better meet the needs of all of our students, but especially those who bring unique challenges into the classrooms as they participate in their educational journey. Many of those challenges they can't help. It's a result of environments that they've been in. So these people have done just an amazing job. I think I'd like to also publicly thank Ms. Robertson and her staff, all the intervention specialists. This is a unique program and a unique way to support our students. And I agree with Ms. Harrison, we always need to be looking at how we can better support them. And this is certainly one way to do that. And again, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And remember to do something fun. I'm going to ask you next month what you did.
Okay, so I'm up. Last but not least. Well, I attended the administrative building open house on yesterday. And of course, the building is absolutely beautiful. The renovation that has been done is just impeccable. I'm just so very proud of the outcome of the building. And I just want to thank Dr. Dewis for just really organizing this event and also overseeing the project. And it's now, it's a historical building, and to forever be remembered and preserved in our school, in our community, and in our school community as well. And I was just so delightful. It was delightful, and I was delighted to meet so many of the alumni, the people in our community that attended the school, and to hear their stories. And if you could have seen the reaction on their faces as they walked down the halls and they were talking about past experiences when they were in kindergarten or first grade or second grade, and they certainly remembered where their principal's office was. And so it was just really, really neat. And then they walked into one room, and I had the same emotions, and I never attended that school at all, but it was just so moving to know that there are two rooms in that building that the wood, and I know this may sound a little simple, but the wood that they walked on is still there. And so those little ladies, they were precious, and they cried when they walked in there and walked on that flooring. It has a lot of significant meaning, you all, a lot of significant meaning. And Dr. Dewis, thank you. Thank you for your work and for organizing that event. It was very special to a lot of people. And also, I just want to thank you, too, for your service in our school community, in our community. Thank you so very much. And to all of the staff members, those of you who are here, the executive staff and others, and our teachers, our paras, our bus drivers, all of you, our cafeteria staff members, I hope you have just the best, most relaxing, fun-filled Christmas and holiday that you've ever had, because you are so deserving of it. So I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to each of you. Thank you.
Ms. Harrison, even when she's not here, the chair is still bossing me around via technology. So hopefully she's laughing at home. She said, please give my apologies for not being there as I'm recovering from surgery, and wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So Ms. Kirby sends those regards. As far as my comments, again, Dr. Dewis, thank you very much for all of your service and what you've done for our school system. To the 20 Teachers of the Year, that's pretty awesome to be recognized from your peers. And I've been lucky that my children have had some of those teachers over the years, and I agree that they should be Teacher of the Year. So Go visit your schools. I'm going to continue to say that. We want you in our schools. As parents, we want you in our schools. Go visit. You will be amazed at what you see. Just on the tours the last 3 to 4 weeks with the legislatures, I've seen quite a bit, from welding to collaboration on the floor, learning history, creating projects, the woodworking, and I'm not sure exactly what the name of that was that we saw at Liberty High School, but it was pretty awesome, of what they're creating in our schools. And so I really encourage you, get out and go to our schools, your schools. And then I will close by saying happy holidays, but from me, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And with that being said, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Nelms. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Daniels. All those in favor to adjourn, please signify by saying
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.